We'll probably get started here just to make sure we make the best use of time.
Yeah.
Again, my name is Clever McQuarrie, and I'm the Partner Relationship Manager here at ByteSpeed. I'm sure you all are maybe aware of ByteSpeed, but I'll just give a short recap. ByteSpeed began in 1999, custom building desktops and servers. And those would come with 5-year warranty and lifetime tech support. And a lot of school districts found us to be a great resource for them with equipment they can rely on. And even after the warranty is over, they can take advantage of our lifetime tech support. So over the years, we grew from just desktop servers, laptops, esports equipment, to a whole bunch of relationships that we have today. Security cameras, interactive flat panels, networking equipment, you name it. But one of our most favorite partnerships is with Optima. I always love to call them my favorite car, Toyota, which is, they're very reliable brand, very fairly priced. And you get all the advantages you can get with all the major brands, but you get the fairest price we've seen. As we know, sometimes budgets can be a challenge, and so we like that they're very aware of that, and design all their products and their pricing to be sensitive to that as well, even have specific government and education pricing. So they've been a joy to work with. I have two of my favorite from there here today, John and Carlene. Uh, John, I work with mostly on the sales side. So if you're wanting any quotes, etc., or just John is our guy. Carlene is the geek in the house. So anything relating to the interactive flat panels themselves, she would be there to educate your teachers, your administrators, you name it. So thanks again for joining us. So without further ado, maybe John, you can introduce yourself. Carlene, you can introduce yourself, and you can go from there.
Absolutely. Thanks for handing that off, Carly. And I'll let you introduce yourself first, and then I'll kind of go from there.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Well, my name's Carlene Vaughn. I'm the education consultant on our display team. I am responsible for demos as well as all of the sort of post-sales support for education. So if you have questions or need support, I'm your gal, and I'm excited to talk to you today.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you all for taking the time. Obviously, we know it's a bit of a hectic season for a multitude of reasons, but especially in kind of the education sector and everything going on. So thanks for taking the time today. Clever just said all that because I took him to see Steph Curry the first time we ever met. So ever since then, I've been his favorite. But yeah, we're gonna dive into some stuff today. We're gonna not talk about the speeds and feeds of everything that you guys probably are all very familiar with. We'll give a little bit of background on who we are at Optima. Frankly, it's a really good company to be with, and we do a little bit of everything. But at the same time, we're aware that there are other bigger names out there that you may be more familiar with. So we want to talk to you about why Optima, what do we do, and what we're capable of. So hopefully you'll come along with us today, and we'll be respectful of your time. But if you have any questions at all, please go ahead and submit those via the chat. Clever will be on the lookout there, and is always good at jumping in when we see those. So yeah, so we'll go through who Optima is. We'll go through our primary focus today is going to be the interactive flat panel. That's what you see there behind Carlene. So she'll do an in-person demo here, which is always important, right? So you can see the different feature sets and things that are built in, which is it's always good to see. So along with that, we'll talk about Optima Management Suite, which is kind of what brings it all together. It kind of brings all of our different offerings and feature sets together and makes it be able to function from one control system there. And then we'll talk questions, and then we're actually going to do gift cards too. So if you do listen and pay attention, they won't be difficult questions, but Carlene will ask a couple questions at the end, and we'll have you send in your responses via email. We'll send a follow-up email, and you can send your answers back, and you can potentially win a gift card that way. So a little bit about Optima, founded in 2000. We are underneath a larger international company, so we have the backing of a large company, but at the same time, Optima is a little bit smaller here in the U.S., and so agile, but able to do a lot of different things. Projection is actually kind of where we started. Got a really good start in that DLP spot, as well as the 4K UHD. Our headquarters are in Fremont, California, which is really important when we start talking services and servicing and warranties. You basically have support all day long because we are based on the West Coast. And then we progressed our way into IFPs just under 7 years ago, I think. So we'll talk a little bit about projection here because that is really what we do and have been doing for the last 20 years. We can go anywhere from the 1,000 to 2,000 lumen mobile transportable projectors all the way up to large venue theaters up to 20,000 lumens. So we have interchangeable lenses. We have the different abilities of remote management and everything like that. We do a ton of education in that 4,000 to 6,000 lumen range. We continue to win awards at Infocom and shows similar to that with all of our different durable and reliable products. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. What we really want to get into is kind of the classroom situation where you have, either projection or interactive flat panels, or maybe you still have whiteboards. And what we want to do is simplify your life as educators and as people who are doing these installs. And so, what we'll talk about today is the interactive flat panel and some of those additional features and everything that we add on to that. So, I'm going to kick it over to Carlene. I'll stop talking your ear off here and we can get into the nitty gritty of it. And if you guys have questions along the way, like I said, please send them in and we'll answer them in real time since we have that ability today. I think you're on mute there, Carlene, but.
I love that. All right. Perfect. So hopefully everybody's seeing my screen now. Yes, it looks like it.
Yep.
All right. So one of the things that I think makes Optoma a really powerful solution is that we're not just one product or one display option. We actually have quite a few options. And so some of the products you'll hear a little bit about today, of course, we have all sorts of projector options ranging anywhere from portable, battery powered, all the way up to large venue spaces and everywhere in between. We also have our interactive displays, which will be our primary focus for today, our non-interactives, and then some LED large display options. So just kind of be aware of that. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask at the end. And as we're going through the actual demo, feel free to ask any questions about what you see or hear while we're in there as well. Okay, so first off, let's talk about some of the things that make Optoma or that makes Optoma unique. So yes, we have interactive displays, but we have kind of two powerful components that come together to give us that full offering within those interactive displays, and that is our OMS and OSS. Now, OSS is our software solutions, and primarily our interactive displays, we have excellent news. We have a budget-friendly option and a premier option, and those are both EDLA certified, which is a really exciting ability for us to be able to offer within that space. So you have that price-friendly option, and again, that premier option, which gets you some pretty cool bells and whistles. But the things that really bring it all together amongst all of our solutions are the OSS and OMS. So OSS gives us things like our cloud-based whiteboard and all of the amazing features that that contains, our display share casting solution, as well as our file manager, which of course gives us the ability to connect all of our cloud resources and have access to all of your files exactly where you need it, when you need it. Now, the OMS features, this is the exciting part for our IT friends, and that is the ability to manage these solutions. Again, across all of our display solutions, you have this OSS and OMS capability. OMS, one of my favorite features of this is that it will actually alert you when there is a problem. So if something goes offline or maybe a lamp overheats or something like that, you will receive an alert within the dashboard as well as to the email account that is set up to manage these devices. So it's a really nice proactive way to manage those displays without having to worry about waiting for someone to come and let you know when there's a problem. Now, in addition to being able to manage all of these, including competitor devices, you can load them all up in the same account. You can create groups, different user levels, and you also have the ability to do over-the-air firmware updates when you want. So by default, it is set to update automatically, but you also have the ability to turn off that feature, which allows whoever's managing this to push them out when they're ready and when they have the bandwidth to handle any potential issues that might arise. Okay, so lots and lots of control. You also have some digital signage capabilities. You have the ability to manage applications. And you also have the ability to set up that first initial device. So you have a large deployment. We're going to set up device 1 by hand at the device. And after that, we're going to clone those settings to all the other devices, which is really going to streamline that setup process for anyone involved in that. Okay. So again, if you have any questions as we work our way through this, please feel free to hop in. And we're going to get to the actual panel itself in just a second. I do want to highlight a couple things really quickly. I mentioned that our interactive displays, we have 2 versions, both EDLA certified. Our new budget-friendly version is our 3 series. Okay, our 3 series again has all of the software features that you're going to see on our 5 series. It has built-in speakers. It has the same casting features, same cloud whiteboard, same everything. Okay, running on Android 14, Wi-Fi 6 support, all the features that your teachers are looking for, again, at that much better price point. Now, if you want all the bells and whistles that make it super, super snazzy, as I say, this is our 5 series. Again, same software, all of your OMS, OSS features. This one is currently sitting on Android 13, but will upgrade to 15 with the next firmware update. In addition to this, it does have some additional hardware bells and whistles, like added subwoofers. We have a cool quick launch pen feature right here-ish. Yep, I can't figure it out. You got it. We'll show in a minute. That's really handy for teachers. We also have our optional NFC card reader for signing in your accounts. In addition to just kind of that beefed up, slightly faster chipset. Nothing that anybody's really going to notice if you went with the 3, but is just a little bit snappier with our 5 series. Okay, so hopefully that kind of gives you the breakdown on this. And we'll hop into the demo in just a second. Last piece, display accessories. We do have our optional camera. We have OPS, so you could have that Windows module. You can see our NFC card reader. And then of course we have a couple different stand options and even a few more that aren't on here, kind of your standard mobile card as well as height adjustable options. So just keep that in mind. Now, I am going to stop sharing. Once I find the button, there we go. All right, and now we're going to head into the official demo. I'm going to spotlight myself, and I'll just come take a step back here really quick. And you'll see, again, we talked about some of those hardware spec differences, and so I just kind of want to highlight some of that for you. There we go. All right, so we have an optional camera plugged in right up here at the top. I have my 8-array microphone built into the top as well. I have 2 8-watt subwoofers on either side of the top, in addition to my standard 18-watt speakers. Down here on the bottom, I of course have my stylus. I have my NFC card reader that's built in right here. And then I have this quick launch pen, which we'll get into in just a second, but I want to make sure that I can highlight the exciting part of that. So right here in this little area is a sign-in window. With Optoma, we do have Optoma accounts, and that is a true cloud-based account that allows you to connect your drives and access any panel customized to your specific settings. So if I were to go anywhere in my school or district, I could sign in on the panel and have access to all of my cloud drives and all my preferred setup. Okay. So in order to sign in, you can do a couple different options. If I tap sign in, you do have a QR code. You can also go manual here, or I can use my NFC card reader. I'm going to go ahead and sign in there, and you'll see in just a second that I should swap. Oh, there we go. My name's changed, and now it's personalizing, and there we go. All right, so one of the things I'm going to do is change our view and put me in the corner here, and then we can really kind of highlight specifically what you're seeing on the display. Before I move forward though, do we have any questions yet?
Not seeing any in the chat, but again, feel free to throw them in there if you do. I do love the light in the
Perfect.
background too. It's a good little energy that we need on this this Thursday here.
Perfect. All right. So you notice now as I've signed into the account, we can see my name here. I have the logout option. I also have a different layout and background on the screen. And essentially, I'm allowed to pin and categorize, create folders, do all that with my applications. I also have my inputs here on the bottom right. And I have the ability to resize that to show all of the input options, or I can just kind of pick and choose my top four, as well as customize the names of these. So if you have devices that you have plugged in on a regular basis, like a desktop computer or a built-in OPS, or maybe you have something else connected via HDMI, you can do that as well. Okay. Now, first off on the screen, just some basic navigation. I'll show you our side toolbar here, accessible from both sides. Quick access to your home button, your recent tasks, settings, display share whiteboard, waffle. So no matter where you are on the panel, whether you're, in the browser or in a specific application, you don't have to go back to the home screen to choose a different place to go. You can kind of start off from the toolbar and then of course hop into your apps from here and you have access to everything. We also have a wide assortment of widgets built into the toolbar to include your annotation tools, the ability to set a screen lock if you want, and even start your recording options if you want to include maybe a picture of the class or a video feed of the class, as well as your screen and your audio from that built-in microphone. You can do that. You can even customize which widgets live here on the toolbar. Just know that you have a limit of 4. Okay. Again, that is accessible from both sides. This is very similar to an iPad or a tablet. So swiping up anywhere on the screen is going to give us access to all of our applications and just a very intuitive user experience. So while we do have really awesome training resources, your users will also be able to pick this up and get moving pretty easy on their own. Now, the things you see kind of highlighted on the home screen are things that I really like to focus on in a demo. And I promised you that we were going to talk about that quick launch pen, and that will bring us to Whiteboard, which is our first application that we're going to dive into. Now, with this quick launch pen, this is a feature that comes standard with our Series 5 panels. And really, we just want to make it as easy as possible for teachers to get from point A to point B. So notice when I pull out my pen, it automatically brings me straight to the whiteboard. Okay, so if that I can have that set to automatically start annotation or whiteboard, and just know there's a lot of features built into this. And because this is cloud-based, teachers have the ability to set all of this up on their computer in advance. And then when they're ready and come back to the board, everything is here and ready for them. Okay. So one of the other great things about our whiteboard is that it's also integrated directly with Google Classroom. And we'll look at some of those features specifically in just a moment. But I do want to share really quick from the initial start screen here, you have a couple basic templates you have access to. You also have access to your recent files. You can have students join with codes, you can create new sessions, or have students, start out with collaborative or non-collaborative sessions from the beginning. Now, right now, if you choose create new session, you have over, last I counted, 202, I believe, background templates for every subject area, really. So you've got all sorts of graphic organizers, math templates. So I know I used to teach algebra, so having this grid option was one of my favorites. But for now, let's go back to home, and I'm actually going to open a lesson I started earlier, which is on the solar system. Within the whiteboard, you'll see that there are a lot of really great features here. For starters, this little toolbar has all sorts of tools built right into it. Now, I did use our highlighting tool, our background template, and the text writing option to kind of give us a header here. We have plenty of pen options, including our AI magic wand. So if you're not an artist, you can say, do your best attempt, and it'll say, hey, how about this? We also have a really nice pressure sensitive pen if you like to be a little more artistic. In addition to that, we have a couple other features that are really nice here. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit our page 2, and we'll talk specifically about some of the math features, which include things like If you go into our shape and objects toolbar, we have our ruler that we can pull in. You can customize some of the details and kind of go between centimeters and inches. We also can add in a protractor if we wanted. And of course, all these can be resized and even used so we can measure what those angles are. All right. In addition to that last piece here, we have something like our math recognition. And so I've already kind of written this down, but for starters, I'm going to go ahead and head into our pen option. And we're just going to do now I'm going to circle this. Oop, catching some other things here. There we go. And I have my math conversion tool here. So it's going to go ahead and do the math for me. So it's nice to have that math calculation built in there. So you can set these problems up in advance, have a whole board full of them, have your students work them, and then when you want to have the ability to have students check their answers, you can have them come up and work the problems manually on the board, or we can use our little math conversion tool and let them check themselves. Okay. Now, this next slide here, let's take a look at this. We also have some really nice built-in media integrations. So on our toolbar, notice that this little arrow right here, hold on, let me go back to my drawing tool. This little arrow right here gives me a whole additional set of tools to use within the whiteboard. So if I do media, I can pull YouTube images in. It's a clean video, no ads, no suggested videos, just a clean YouTube video. We also can pull in Google Images, and that's how I brought these two images on the screen. And these objects can then be resized, moved around, manipulated on the screen, however you want to do that. Okay. In addition to that, some really fun options include our ability to incorporate a webcam as well as a web browser. So that webcam, I have a webcam on the top of my panel, but this could also be a document camera. Okay, so with the document camera, I know that students are going to benefit from seeing me do something exactly how I want them to do and model that, or be able to just see that exact resource up on the screen. It's a great way to do that. Okay, it's something that teachers are really do quite often in a traditional sort of classroom. So no, again, with this, all sorts of resources, okay? But I did tell you we were going to talk a little bit about that Google Classroom integration, and I just want to pull this up really quick. I do have a Google Classroom set up for mine, and you can see my email here. I can select my class, and what this does is this binds the class directly to, excuse me, this lesson directly to my Google Classroom. And so when my students log into the class, they will see a link to join this session and be able to immediately have access to everything that we did in class. Okay, so the ability to study or even have them join live in a session is right here at your fingertips. Notice I have a little session code on the right side of the screen now, and that will give students the ability to join with that session code, or it could be based off of the rosters within your Google Classroom. Okay, so students can join, participate all at once, or I can say, hey, John, your turn. Hey, Jesus, your turn, and allow them to take part one at a time and kind of manipulate the things that I have set on the screen at that time. Okay, so having that true live collaboration, even when they're sitting in the room with you, is a really great option for the classroom. Do you have any questions on the whiteboarding?
Nothing yet.
All righty, I'm gonna hop out of here and we will look back at our home screen. The next app that I really want to focus on is Display Share. This is our casting application. Now, with the casting, yes, we have the ability to send content to the screen, okay? You can use just about any device, iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, Mac OS, and Chrome OS. So just about any device that you would expect to see in a classroom, you would be able to connect to the panel to share content, okay? Up to 4. With the Windows desktop option, you can also use something called moderator mode, and that allows teachers to pick and choose who is sharing content rather than allowing it to be kind of like a free-for-all when we want them to come in, okay? Now, the other thing we can do is we can pull content to us. So we can have the ability to just view the content. So if we want students to be able to view from their devices, we can also allow screen controls if you want to allow students to do that, or just on your teacher device. And really what it allows you to do is be in full control of the panel from anywhere in the room, whether you're working with a small group in the back, or you're just moving around the room facilitating. And it doesn't matter where that content originates from. We have some specific smart controls on here that are pretty unique to our display share option. And this allows not only the ability to kind of toggle around on the screen, but you can turn your mobile phone into a mobile trackpad. And just with my thumb, you can see that I'm now moving around on the screen, and I can direct everything from right here. We also have a fun laser pointer feature that we know some of our teachers are asking for. All I have to do is press the button on my phone screen and move my phone around, and it creates that laser pointer option. Traditional laser pointers don't work because of the IR, but if a teacher is looking for that functionality, it is part of the display share capabilities. Okay. So again, you can connect and share with just about any device. Now, for schools and districts who don't want to have to download an app on the device, we are also compatible with AirPlay, Miracast, and Chromecast. Alrighty. One of the other fun features we have in here, if I just swipe up, and we're talking about being able to share multiple pieces of content, is picture-in-picture mode. And I'm just going to share this really quick. I do have a built-in Windows OPS that actually haven't booted up in a minute, so you're seeing that boot up screen, but it has touch controls on it. So if I wanted to, I could add my Chromebook or a student device or the built-in OPS, or really a host of other options as my picture-in-picture. This can be resized, it can be moved around, and depending on the device can also include those touch controls. Okay, so just another option, another way to bring it in. We have multi-window mode, which will allow you to put things in quadrants if you like, or you could just kind of put this on the side or do split screen with another application. Just kind of depends, but you can have up to 4 windows here, up to 2 sources displayed as well. Okay. All right, so that's the picture-in-picture. I'm actually just going to close this for now, and we'll talk about File Manager. Now, you saw me sign into my panel, and File Manager is how we're going to connect all of our cloud drives. So yes, we have internal storage, but if I go to cloud drives, you can see I have my Google Drive and my OneDrive here. Okay. With that, I also have the ability to connect public cloud accounts, but keep in mind anything connected in this bottom section will be available even when users are not signed in. Okay. So that would be something, maybe, I know when I was teaching, we had something called the L drive, which was accessible to teachers and students. So if I wanted to have that connected on the display, I absolutely can. If you don't want public access to your cloud drives, then personal drives will need to be connected up here in this top section. And the process for connecting is super easy. All you have to do is click the little plus button here, choose the drive you want to connect, and then it will walk you through the process for that. Okay. The rest of it down here is just kind of choosing how you want to search for your files. So if you know you're looking for an image, then I can just choose images, and I'm going to have all the images no matter what folder for my internal storage that they're stored in. Same thing with videos, etc. So if I was looking for a specific screen recording or something like that, I would be able to easily find it here, as well as in the specific folder marked record. All right, so what this does, again, signing into your Optoma account is really going to allow you to not only within the Whiteboard app, or perhaps your PowerPoint app or Google Drive or something like that, it's also going to allow you to be able to pull your files directly in and access them within the file manager. So much more control and accessibility. So we're not having to go in and sign into all these different places. Now, I know we talked about these being EDLA certified. That stands for Enterprise Device Licensing Agreement. And essentially what it means is we have Google's official check mark saying, yes, they are compatible and meet our security standards in order to kind of carry that capability. So with that, it does, of course, give us access to all of our Google applications, but it also gives us access to the entire Google Play Store where we can download other applications like the Microsoft Suite, for example. All of these applications are going to work flawlessly on this device. So if there are apps that your teachers or your customers really want access to, if it's in the Google Play Store, it should function perfectly on the panel. Okay. Now, the last piece of this that we'll kind of talk about today is the Optima Management Suite. And it is not super exciting here on the panel because this is just telling me that we're connected. But if we take a look at it on our screen really quickly, we'll be able to see what that looks like for customers. And I'm going to do this super, super fast. And while I'm pulling it up, John, is there anything that you want to add?
Not really, other than thank you for coming back. She actually just got back from vacation like late last night, so you'd never guess that with her bouncing around in her prep here. But no, I think one thing that we always try to talk about is the fact that more and more we're in a subscription and hidden fees and hidden limitations as far as some of these softwares that our competitors are doing. And both Carlene and I have worked elsewhere. Optima truly is desiring to not have anything hidden as far as fees go, as well as being pretty agnostic, right? Being able to work with almost anything, being able to flawlessly, connect to whatever you currently have in your infrastructure. So I love this OMS capability because you can also use a Hive, which we'll talk about here shortly, to kind of make everything, seamlessly connected and have the same remote management access, not only to these Optima products, but to what you have currently in your system there. So
Perfect. Thank you. And I'll still open for questions. If anybody has them, feel free to pop those in the chat and we'll make sure we answer them while we're all here. I just wanted to be able to show you really quickly what OMS looks like. And again, you can connect any of our display solutions within OMS. You also have the ability to connect some of those competitor devices as well. So being able to manage all of them in one space, even when they're not just interactive displays, is really, really awesome. Again, with that, you have the ability to get alerts when there's an issue with a device. So for example, I can see that here I have one device that's online, two devices that are off. And of course, these are just the ones that I have registered to me. So it makes sense that some of these are off because I'm using one right now. Okay. But again, I can see and kind of customize some of the specifics for this. I can click into my panel and get some more specific information. I have my temperature. I also have the ability to initiate some restarts and things like that from here. One of the other controls that I didn't mention when we talked about OMS earlier is the ability to set some of those power settings. So if I want to make sure that devices are not running at night or on the weekend, I can tell them all to come on at one time and off at the other. So know that that is a capability and a really handy way to manage this. Okay, we can see specific applications, do some control with the device, again, those power settings. In addition to that, here are some of our signage options. So if I come over to broadcast, you'll see that I'm going to click a device first, and that's the display you see behind me. I can send a specific message if I want, and maybe have it scroll across the middle, and I can just say hello when I send this. It's going to go across very quickly. Okay, I can have that be scrolling text if I want. That's very basic, right? If we wanted to give somebody in the office the ability to request students up for dismissal or something like that, this might be some way or an easy way to use this. But another option we have is the media option. And from here, you can pull images, YouTube, or video from YouTube, and then resources directly from Canva as well. So if you had a video that you wanted to utilize here, we can actually come to some pre-assigned content that I've already created or loaded the links in my library. So you can do some pre-work there. And I can go ahead and send that out to the display. There we go, that fast. And I should have stopped my hello message. It'll go away pretty soon. So you can see some of the sample digital signage options here coming across. So again, lots of capabilities with this. And I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And then lastly, we have the ability to create some emergency scenarios, which is kind of the most important option, right? Yes, we love the ability to communicate and tell students and our school community about exciting things that are happening, but we also want to be able to communicate if there's a fire or some other situation. So essentially what happens is we have a couple templates preloaded. You can create your own as well. Then we have the ability now to go in and edit what those look like. So for the fire announcement, I have the image set up. It's called fire. It is going to display this image. I can tell it how long. I can also make it a forced message, meaning that they can't display it until I've cut off that announcement. Okay. And once I set up the parameters for this, it's just kind of locked and loaded on my dashboard. So I can come here. Now I've assigned this to specific groups. It could be to one panel, a group of panels, or all the panels or devices. And for me, I've actually only assigned this to my device because that's all I really have access to for live devices. But when I click that button, it is going to initiate on the panel. You can see my command has been sent and my network's running a tad slow today. There we go. Okay. And so again, those can be completely customized. There we go. I should have stopped from the screen. Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard that. There's an alarm that was going along with it. Hopefully it blocked it out for you. But yes, we can set up those little buttons for quick press when we need them. Okay, we also have some really amazing integrations coming with some of the safety providers that you're well aware of. So I'm just going to kind of tease that for a second, and I know you'll be hearing more about it soon. All right. Oh, John, you asked me to talk about the Hive. The Hive is essentially a little box that I have in a basket, and it is basically a panel in a box. So what this does, excuse me, I should have pulled this out earlier. This is our Hive, and what it does is it allows us to put any device really into the Optima environment. So not only can it be managed by OMS, it also includes all of the OSS features as well. So you'll get access to casting and whiteboarding and file management and all of that from this tiny little box that can be added again to a TV, a projector, a competitor display, any of those options, and all managed in the same spot. So know that this is an option too. All right, I think I'm done now.
No, that's great. And just so you know, I think part of the thing that we have going here is I recognize several of these names that are attending. So I think I've done individual demos with some of you in the past. So appreciate you guys checking back in. Obviously, things are ever changing and we have new capabilities and feature sets. And honestly, the OMS platform specifically is continuing to be updated and improved. And so you saw a little bit of glimpse of that. But obviously, we're always happy to do a more in-depth follow-up demo or even send you guys demo units as well. So yeah, we won't want to take too much time here. I'll give you a second if anybody has questions right now while she is still standing there in front of the board, and then I'll kind of close us out here unless you have something else, Carlene.
I think that's it for me.
Okay. Well, if you do have questions, feel free to jump in. I'm just going to close it out here, talking a little bit about our non-interactive flat panels. We do have one additional size there in the 98-inch. It's been really popular because it can, take place instead of having to do the full LED expansion or a large projection surface. You can do a 98-inch display, and it really fits well. Comes with a lot of those similar feature sets we just talked about. You're able to do it through the OMS capabilities. You're able to do a pretty seamless installation. The cost is very efficient. All of our IFPs, also I meant to mention, are a 3-year standard warranty. However, working through ByteSpeed right now, we're offering a additional 2 years, so 5 years, all encompassed. That's going to be your on-site warranty, as well as what I kind of hinted at earlier was our service center is based out of Fremont, California. It is kind of top of class as far as being able to reach somebody. If you're in the middle of the country, which I assume most of you are, basically 10 to 12 hours a day. So you're not going to be calling and not being able to understand who you're speaking to. Our team is incredible as far as if I don't respond within the first 30 minutes, they'll send me a couple notes of, hey, we need to get on this here. So definitely something to consider there. That's part of another reason of why Optima. And we do partner with people like ByteSpeed for specific reasons, right? There's a lot of different dealers and integrators out there, and I think ByteSpeed does such a great job of integrating truly anything from A to Z, right? Because you can come in and you can say, hey, this is what we're running into pain point wise in our school district right now or our offices. And ByteSpeed really does come in and do a great job of saying, hey, we can do security features, we can do XYZ, as well as do these installations and make sure you have the best support both pre and post install. So thank you guys again for taking the time here. I think I may have seen a question pop up there.
Oh,
Marlene, did you
that's
have
me.
2 questions?
I do. I was just going to type them in the chat really quick.
Perfect. I'll let you type
So,
those out there and you can read them out too.
all right, perfect. So question one, and I'm gonna give you just a second. Name one difference between the Series 5 and Series 3 panels.
I would jot this down in your notes because we're going to email you and that's how it's going to
Yes.
qualify. So we'll email you and you can email
And
back these answers. And you got a pretty good chance at winning these, but it'll be a $25 or $50 gift card to Amazon. We'll send out later today or early next week.
all right. And the last question is name one competitive feature in OMS. So one of the features you heard about today that maybe you haven't heard about in the past or that we mentioned was one of those differentiating features.
That's good. I like those questions. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you guys. Clever, I don't know if you have anything else. I think you might even be traveling right now or in a hotel room or something because you're always on the road. So, Clever, if you want to give one more word of wisdom here and we'll kind of jump off here because I know everyone's got a million other things to do, but appreciate everybody's time today.
Well, I've got the ByteSpeed background, so I'm at ByteSpeed everywhere I go. But but yeah, no, but thank you everybody. It was a pleasure to have you both, John and Carlene. And so yeah, folks, feel free to, we'll send a follow-up email with a recording of this webinar if you want to send it to other people in the district that you think would benefit from this. But uh, John here, I know there's a lot of, turmoil that's going on with a lot of product and tariffs and all things, but John's very good about giving you all the information that you need, responding quickly, and if you're trying to navigate and move quickly before things keep changing, would be more than glad to help. So we'll maybe wrap it up at there, and thanks again for your time today, and we'll be in touch.
All right.
Clever.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Colleen. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Bye.
great weekend.